So now my darling friend Cheryl is here to help me with my next recipe, which is a chai spice tapioca pudding. It's really healthy and it also is really comforting. It's because it has these wonderful spices, cinnamon and cloves and cardamom, which really give it an incredible aroma.
It really sounds warming in the wintertime.
Exactly. And also because you use soy milk instead of regular cow's milk, it's actually healthier than a lot of the tapioca puddings
It sounds delicious.
So let's get going. For this recipe, we'll need 3 cups of low-fat soy milk, a pinch of kosher salt, 4 cardamom pods lightly crushed, 2 cloves, a half a cinnamon stick, 8 black peppercorns, a 1/4 cup of small pearl tapioca, a half cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So the first thing we want to do is flavor the soy milk with all of these spices. And the way you do that is by heating the soy milk with the spices and then letting it just sit there and infuse.
Okay.
So the first thing we want to do is just pour the soy milk into a saucepan.
It's such a beautiful color too.
It does manage to be a beautiful color. And yeah, it's a nice ivory. So then just reach for one of those cinnamon sticks.
Okay.
You only need a half a cinnamon stick, so you can just break it in half.
With my hands? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
just with your hands. It's okay if it kind of breaks apart into bits. You can just
Okay.
throw the whole half in. We'll strain it out later.
Mm-hmm.
And take 4 of those cardamom pods, and you actually want to crush them before you put them in the pot.
Do I need a special tool to crush them, or?
Yeah, you could just use, this is good.
Oh,
Just
great.
like any kind of ramekin or saucepan or even like
And
a
just
meat pounder.
crush it, or?
Yeah,
or
just
no?
you don't even need to like pulverize it. Just,
Okay.
you know, crush it a little bit so it's a little open.
And
yeah.
then I put the whole seed in?
Yeah, just throw the whole thing in.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, we're going to strain those out later, so it's totally fine. And while you're doing that, I'm going to put in about 8 peppercorns. You know, doesn't matter if it's 8 or 10 or a dozen. Also a couple of cloves.
Just a pinch?
Yeah, well, I would actually just do like 2 or 3 because
Okay.
they're actually pretty strong
All right.
as spices
And
go.
then I can just drop them in?
Yeah, just drop them in. And I'll put in just a pinch of salt. And then we're going to set it on the heat.
And what does the salt do?
The salt really just like balances the sweetness of the sugar that you're going to add to the tapioca pudding later.
Okay.
You only need a little touch of it. It just kind of balances everything together. So I'm going to set this over a medium-low heat just to let it simmer for a little bit, about 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to get it warmed up. And then we'll just shut the heat off and let it steep for about 10 or 15 minutes just to let the spices infuse.
Is there the same risk with soy milk of scalding that regular milk has?
It definitely, like, sometimes it gets a skin on top, but it doesn't scald like regular milk does.
Okay.
So you don't have to be quite as careful with it. It should be okay. So our spice-infused soy milk has been sitting here for about 10 or 15 minutes after it was simmered. So here, smell it. Smells really
It
nice.
smells great.
Okay. So then you just strain it. You want to hold this. This is just to get all of the solid spices out. So you don't want to bite into a big chunk of cinnamon when you're eating your pudding. And so let's get that last bit out. Put the saucepan back on the counter. You can put the spices, just carry that over to the sink.
Okay.
Yeah, just leave that in there.
Okay.
And then we're going to add the tapioca and everything else and then put it back on the fire.
Okay.
So why don't you measure out a 1/4 cup of the tapioca,
Alright.
and I'll put in a teaspoon of vanilla.
I love the sound of the tapioca.
Yeah, it's a nice rustling little sound. And I like to add a lot of vanilla because I'm kind of greedy for that vanilla flavor. It goes really well with the chai spices.
Do I just put it directly in?
Yeah, just dump it right in. And then if you could measure out a half a cup of sugar. You could totally use less sugar if you wanted to make this an even lighter recipe.
Could you substitute honey, or is that not as good as the sugar?
If you wanted a honey flavored try spiced tapioca pudding, you could. I would probably leave it neutral because you have a lot of other flavors going on.
Okay.
But if you wanted to add like more vanilla or chocolate flavor, you could use chocolate soy milk or vanilla soy milk. That would also work really well.
And what about using skim milk? Does that have the same consistency or is it a different flavor?
Skim milk could work, but I don't think it would have as much richness as soy milk. And soy milk is healthy and rich at the same time, so I think it's like a good decision to use the soy milk.
Okay.
So you just pour this mixture back into the saucepan. Just scrape out anything that's left in the bowl.
So you can see the tapioca is already starting to get larger.
Yeah, it's already starting to swell a little bit. And you just turn the heat back up to about medium low. And you want to simmer this for about 15 minutes. Every brand of tapioca pearls is different, so some will take longer to cook, some will take a shorter amount of time. The basic thing you're looking for is that the tapioca pearls turn nice and al dente and translucent in color, and the pudding gets nice and thick.
And al dente is when it's chewable, or?
Yeah, like to the tooth, kind of like chewy a little bit, but also tender.
Okay.
So that should take about 15 minutes, and we'll go from there.
Can't wait.
So the tapioca pudding has been cooking for about 15 to 20 minutes, and it's nice and thickened up, and the tapioca is perfectly al dente. So we've let it cool just for a few minutes so we won't burn our tongues. And now all we need to do is plate it. So I'm going to put this in a bowl, and why don't you grab some of those pistachios and just chop them up roughly.
Can't wait to try it. It looks so good.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Do you have any tips for chopping up the pistachios, or should I do it one by one?
Yeah, I would just like put your knife down here and kind of rock back and forth,
Okay.
and then you can chop all of them together. Yeah, perfect. And I'm gonna reach across you and grab the cinnamon. So that's the first thing I'll put on it. The pudding by itself can look a little dull, so I like to spice it up with a little cinnamon. And then the green of the pistachios goes really well with it too, and adds a little bit of crunch. So that looks perfect.
Okay.
So just like sprinkle however much you want on top.
It looks so beautiful with the green.
Yeah. It's a nice little contrast. More.
Oh, that looks perfect.
Yeah, looks really nice.
Can't wait to try it.
Dig in. What do you think?
It's fabulous. It's hard to believe that it's not bad for you, though. It's so creamy.
It's nice and creamy.
It's also so warming, since I'm used to tapioca pudding being cool,
Mm-hmm.
and having it straight off the stove is wonderful for a cold day.
Yeah, it's something you really want to curl up in front of the TV with. So remember, food can be good or bad, but it should always be yummy.